Carrie, as a main character, provides us with someone who can be relatable at times, and someone that doesn't try to be perfect. Her flawed mistakes are a part of why each scene with her is so entertaining. But there's a little flaw that hides under the radar, sneaking past us before we even have a chance to discuss it, let alone acknowledge it. I couldn't help but wonder, did Carrie ever take accountability? Hello there, and welcome to my channel, where I analyze and talk about TV shows that I like. Around here, the curtain is blue for a reason. There's always a reason. Let's discuss. The famous speech given by Natasha, where she utters the words, "Not only have you ruined my marriage, you've ruined my lunch," is quoted endlessly in discussions, but I haven't really seen anyone talk about something else that can be spotted. Throughout this episode, Carrie runs around Manhattan trying to get into contact with Natasha to apologize for having an affair with Big and contributing to the failure of their marriage. And finally, in the middle of a lunch date, Carrie corners Natasha and says, "I heard about your marriage. It's just so terrible." Pause. "I heard about your marriage" is pretty wild. I won't try to say what is and isn't appropriate to say in this situation, because tracking down Natasha down to this restaurant and confronting her shouldn't have happened in the first place. But to use some type of passive voice in the confrontation in the apology is crazy, because it allows Carrie to simultaneously confront the issue without actually taking responsibility. You come home and your two kids are standing next to a broken vase. "Mom, the vase broke." That type of passive voice implies that the vase just jumped up and obliterated itself for funsies. It's a great way to avoid getting into trouble. Obviously, a mom is going to say, "Which one of you did it?" And then it's time to fess up. Carrie didn't say, "I heard about the divorce," or "I heard you and Big split," because that's too on the nose, it's too direct. By keeping a passive voice with "I heard about your marriage," she's able to keep a certain distance from the situation, as if she were on the sidewalk and she saw down the street a car accident that just happened in her vicinity. She continues by describing the situation in a very nebulous and indirect way. "If there was something I could do to take it all away, I would." If I was a passerby and I overheard this conversation, I wouldn't think in a million years that this is the other woman, the mistress, sitting across from the heartbroken ex-wife. I wouldn't think that. Carrie can't even bring herself to say the words out loud. "I'm sorry for ruining your marriage." And you might be thinking, "Oh, but this only happens with Natasha. Of course she's incredibly uncomfortable and can't bring herself to directly say out loud what she did." But please, let me continue. Her three best friends, Samantha, Miranda, and Charlotte, it wasn't a coincidence that they each learned about the affair in that order. If I were to order the three of them from least likely to judge Carrie to most likely to judge Carrie, it would be in that order: Samantha, Miranda, and Charlotte. We know that Samantha regularly sleeps with married guys, and of the three of them, Samantha's usual model is "Who cares? Have fun." Season 3, episode 10, Carrie is able to say to Samantha, someone she knows would never judge her over this or hold her accountable, "I slept with Big last week. Please don't tell Charlotte and Miranda." Notice how she said Charlotte first. Samantha doesn't judge in the slightest and only offers words of comfort. Okay, let's move on to the second person to learn the news, Miranda, who is slightly more judgmental than Samantha regarding this, but slightly less judgmental than Charlotte. Season 3, episode 11, Carrie can't blurt it out like she did with Samantha. She has to add a buffer, a "please, please, 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 please don't hate me" buffer. "Okay, I have something to tell you and you're not gonna like it, and believe me, I would rather tell anyone but you, but I have to, because I need your help. I'm having an affair with Big. I'm smoking and I'm sleeping with Big. Do you hate me? Say you don't hate me." I can't help but notice the change in language when she speaks to Samantha, where she bluntly says, "I slept with Big," and just kind of lets it hang in the air, knowing very confidently that Samantha isn't going to judge her. But with Miranda, she's nervous. She's walking on eggshells, because let's be real, Carrie knows Miranda is very opinionated and will tell off Carrie. But before Miranda even has the chance to do it, Carrie's already essentially begging for Miranda's forgiveness and comfort. Do you hate me? Say you don't hate me. Please, 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 please don't friendship break up with me. Let's see the language that Carrie uses with Charlotte, the one who is going to judge Carrie the most about this. It was a force greater than me, like Niagara Falls or something, you know? See, again, she describes it in this vague, metaphorical way, making it nebulous and hard to define. The harder it is to define and to describe in plain words, the harder it is to pinpoint on her. And you know what? You might be saying that this whole situation is a very isolated situation, and it's not fair to say that Carrie doesn't take accountability for her mistakes based off of just this one mistake, even though having an affair isn't one mistake. It's multiple mistakes over the course of 3 weeks. But okay, let's dig into it even more. What about that fight with Miranda? Season 3, episode 18. Big and Natasha are divorced, and Big asks Carrie out for lunch. Carrie casually brings this up with Miranda while they're out thrifting, and Miranda calls her out. Wake up, Carrie. How many more times are you going to go through this? He is bad for you. Jesus. Every time you get near him, you turn into this pathetic, needy, insecure victim. What pisses me off the most is that you are more than willing to go back for more. I am not going back for more, and I can't believe you would say that to me. The first sign of any little weakness or flaw, and you just write people off. My God, Miranda, you are so judgmental. Harsh words were thrown at each other, and it doesn't matter who was right or wrong. They both really hurt each other's feelings. Carrie calls Miranda later. Good, you're there. I was just gonna call you. Do you really think I'm pathetic? No, I'm so sorry. I don't think you're pathetic at all. I'm outside the restaurant hiding in some bushes. Do you still think I'm not pathetic? I know you think it's a huge mistake. It's just something I feel I need to do to move on or something. Don't listen to me. I have no idea what's right for you and Big. But if I'm totally wrong and it is a huge mistake, I need to know you'll be there for me. I'm there. What? So in this conversation, we all heard Miranda apologize for calling Carrie pathetic, and she even reassured Carrie that she's going to be there for her as her friend, even if she makes questionable decisions that she doesn't agree with. But we never heard an apology from Carrie for calling Miranda judgmental. And don't go typing in my comments, well, Miranda is judgmental, because if we're going to go down that route, Carrie does get pathetic when it comes to Big. Those are harsh words to say to your best friends, though. And it doesn't need to be said like that, hence why Miranda apologized. Why didn't Carrie? Here's the thing. Carrie is capable of taking accountability for when she's been wrong, and she's apologizing for it. Season 5, episode 4, Carrie walks into Samantha's office while she's with the Worldwide Express guy and catches her in a compromising position. For nearly the rest of the episode, Carrie's making little jokes and little comments, and Samantha finally calls her out on being judgmental. You would never walk in on me, because that is something I would never do. There. And I cannot believe that you would judge me after everything that we've been through. Look, I'm sorry. Carrie, stop. I don't want to do the I'm sorry stuff with you. Anyone else? Fine, but not you. You and I are perfect. Sweetie, as lovely as that idea sounds, we're not perfect. Make no mistake about it, it's not my personal style, but I really admire your ability to put your sex life out there. I did judge you. Just a little. I feel bad, especially considering that you were so good to me during the whole big married man affair. And there it is. Carrie laid it all out. She put everything into words and she apologized. This was really a sincere moment between them, and it's honestly my favorite moment between Carrie and Samantha, because we know Samantha hates having these mushy emotional conversations, but she deserved to be apologized to and have Carrie tell it to her straight. But when Carrie is in a position where she's faced with someone that will judge her and has every right to judge her, the accountability goes out the window. The conversation becomes vague and nebulous, and passive voice is constantly used. Now, in season 3, episode 12, she does a weird mix of things. She tells Aiden bluntly, "Aiden, I slept with my ex-boyfriend," which is obviously really direct. But just like with Miranda, before he even has a chance to respond or anything, Carrie is already wanting to hurry it up and sweep it under the rug and just move on. You met him at the furniture store. Then we slept together. I didn't tell you, and I'm sorry. You slept with that guy when we were going out? Once? No, more than once. He was married, it was a mess, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, it's so over, and it was wrong, and I just hope you can forgive me, is what she wanted to say. Later in the episode, when she felt Aiden pulling away, couldn't it be like the wood, and that's my flaw, and you're the other wood, and then that makes us stronger? It's not that simple, Carrie. I just wish I didn't know about this. I just wanted to be honest with you. People make mistakes. I just know myself. This is not the kind of thing I can get over. I just need to be on my own for a while. Me on my own. I really loved you. One could argue that Carrie, in the examples I've provided, did apologize in her own way, and that counts as taking accountability. Because let's be real, you don't need to read off some exact script in order to apologize. You can use your own words. But taking accountability isn't just apologizing in your own way and then quickly moving on from it. It's admitting the mistake, understanding the error, and accepting the consequences. No, I do not think Carrie should be killed or written off as a horrible person for the rest of her life for her mistakes. But if the consequence is someone disliking her, for example, then she has to deal with that. That's the consequence. In the example with Natasha and Carrie, at the beginning of that episode, season 3, episode 17, it seriously feels as though the consequence of having Natasha and her friends hate her is worse than all the other consequences. The guilt of ruining a marriage, the shame and judgment it's brought on from others, the hurt that she's caused Natasha. All of that has no weight compared to Natasha just not liking her. I can't believe there is a person in New York that could hate me that much. Oh my god. After lunch, I was so devastated by Natasha's withering look that I decided my only recourse was to go shopping. We see this again in season 5, episode 6, when Carrie runs into a Nina Katz and learns that Nina went out with Aiden right after Carrie. Nina gives this yikes look to Carrie, and it just eats at her for the entire episode because, oh my god, how could some random lady in New York hate her so much? It feels as though, in the examples of Carrie at her worst, she's less sorry for what she actually did, and more sorry for the consequences that she has to deal with. The consequence of losing people in her life because of her choices, or the consequence that there's just bad blood between her and someone else in New York, maybe even multiple people. I really think Charlotte summarized it perfectly. That makes you the other woman. I'm not the other woman. I'm not. I mean, I know I am, but I am not that woman. Please, Charlotte, I feel bad enough already. Good. You should feel bad. Do you ever think about how she'd feel if she found out? I think about it all the time. No, you don't. You think about what would happen to you if she found out. You don't think about her. She's just the idiot wife. You don't know anything about her. This lack of accountability and inability to acknowledge her mistakes and genuinely see these errors from the perspective of other people is her biggest flaw. And don't get me wrong, I am not sitting here and saying that she's an awful, evil person that should be condemned for eternity. All the characters have flaws, and watching these flaws and the stories surrounding them are what makes the show so entertaining, and it's what makes these characters so easy to relate to. It's something that kind of hides under the surface, and it's something that Carrie struggles with and continues to struggle with, even in the movies and in the new show and just like that. I honestly think Carrie had one of her best moments in this conversation between her and Samantha. It was raw and real, and it felt like she was actually looking at her own actions and being 100% honest and real with the person that had to deal with the consequences of her actions. Unfortunately, Natasha never got to see that side. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Was Carrie actually remorseful for the whole affair? Did she actually feel bad for Natasha, or did she just feel guilty because of the consequences? Was Charlotte right? Did Carrie ever actually think about Natasha and how hurt she would be? Let me know in the comments, and if you have a suggestion for the next video, feel free to leave that in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. See y'all next time.